Good morning to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here with a check of the First Alert forecast. We are streaming live on Atlanta News First Plus, whether you are watching us on YouTube. Atlanta News First is the account that we are streaming on right now. Also the place in which you can ask your weather questions, get those comments, concerns with the forecast address. And boy, is there a lot of weather to talk about. Big changes over the past 24 hours. Temperatures 20 to 30 degrees colder than they were this time yesterday. Yesterday we peaked in the 70s, mid-70s in Atlanta. Today we will struggle to get into the mid-50s. It is already chilly outside, and those winds are already starting to blow, kind of picking up after a relatively calm night. And with winds increasing, that's only going to serve to pull in even chillier weather temperatures in the First Alert forecast. So again, cold weather is the rule here for at least the next couple of days. Combined with the wind, you will want to make sure that you have your winter coats. Again, about a minute and a half or so into this, I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. I am First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. In addition to asking questions on YouTube, you can also shoot us a text, 470-777-WANF. Again, that is 470-777-9263. So with all that said, time now to kind of dive into the forecast. Temperatures in the 40s across the board. Only one community on the map 50 or warmer, and that's Thomaston, with the current temperature of 50 degrees. Gainesville 47, 49 at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And again, yesterday afternoon, Hartsfield-Jackson peaked at 74 degrees. LJ is at 44, Canton is at 45, and we're just now starting to see those winds pick up across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. In fact, we can look at current wind speeds. These are sustained winds, so there's more constant winds, not including any of those gusts. Sustained at 13 Hartsfield-Jackson, sustained at 12 in LaGrange, 18 in Gainesville. We could possibly double these in a few communities by the time we get to the afternoon. Sustained, 20, 25 miles per hour with gusts possibly up to 40 miles an hour as we get into the heart of the afternoon. Now, it is chilly outside, but hey, it's gorgeous. We have the wind, we have the chill, but we also have tons of sunshine today. Live look downtown, that's the bins there in the distance. Nothing but sun. And, if it were cloudy, we'd be even colder than we're shaping up to be this afternoon. But we do have sunshine, so we will manage 50s. Again, it's going to be a pretty day. It's just going to be a windy day, a chilly day, a brisk day across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. For example, high temperatures today forecast to be quite a bit colder than yesterday, hence the First Alert weather day. It's kind of a shock to the system, and we want to bring you that awareness, that extra heads up, the First Alert, that the chilly weather is here. Cold and windy day today, with temperatures staying in the 40s in Helen. LJ forecast to hit 50, but we'll see. Could remain in the 40s, certainly in the peaks there. The highest of elevations in those spots probably will stay in the 40s. Canton, your forecast high temperature is 53. 57 in Atlanta, 57 in Carrollton, 60 LaGrange, Thomaston. Eatonton forecast to hit a high temperature of 61 degrees, hour-by-hour forecast. Again, this is a look at what radar and satellite may look like. So when you see the whites and the grays here, those are clouds. And I want to walk you deeper into the forecast here, because as we get into tonight and to tomorrow morning, with a second batch of cold air moving into North Georgia and Metro Atlanta, with an area of low pressure kind of spinning away to our north, it is entirely possible that we could end up with a few flurries in the highest of elevations tomorrow morning. Of course, this is not going to be an accumulating winter event or anything like that for North Georgia. But given the pattern, given the setup, First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris and I were talking about this earlier, it's possible we could have a few flurries. Again, hour-by-hour forecast. As we go through the day, just a few clouds this afternoon. By this point, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, winds are going to be cranking across North Georgia. It really is going to be a fairly windy day, with winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour pretty easily as we get into the heart of the afternoon. Now, by dinner time this evening, 6, 7, 8 p.m., winds starting to calm down just a little bit. Still breezy, so we'll call it brisk. And, after sunset, temperatures quickly back into the 40s. You factor in that wind, it will feel like the 30s. We'll go into the wind chill numbers here in just a moment. But want to draw your attention to tomorrow morning. Again, pausing this in the wee hours of tomorrow morning, 4 a.m., we kind of have this flow out of the north. And what you can't see on this particular map is there's a big area of low pressure to our north. Think, widespread light snow, very cold air, and windy conditions with that. We're kind of on the southern flank of that, so it's only going to enhance that northerly wind and bring in some colder air into North Georgia and Metro Atlanta tonight into tomorrow morning, kind of like a second push of cold air, second front. And that is when we could have a few flurries up in the highest of elevations. Again, not a big winter weather event or anything like that, but it is possible we could have a few flurries as we get into the wee hours of tomorrow morning. Don't, have any sort of thought in your head that this is going to be some big accumulating snow or that you're even going to see anything. And certainly nothing for the metro. No issues with schools or anything like that. But a few flurries in the mountains, typically the first places to see weather like that in a setup like this. That is a possibility as we get into the wee hours of tomorrow morning. During the day tomorrow, again, 6, 7, 8 a.m., could still be a few flurries up in Rabun County, Clay County, North Carolina, maybe Fannin County, White County, far northern Habersham County. The spots that typically are most at risk for a few flurries with these, late fall, early winter cold waves certainly could see a few flakes fly, with windy conditions as we get into the day tomorrow. And then we'll lose that by 11 a.m. back to full sunshine, windy and sunny day. It's going to be one of those days where the sky may be crystal clear. It's crystal blue outside right now, just gorgeous stuff. But it comes with windy weather. It comes with cold weather across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. So with that in mind, with a clear sky, not the ideal setup for temperatures to just outright plummet, but we're going to drop a good bit tonight with forecast low temperatures back in the upper 30s in Atlanta, forecasting the coldest temperature at Hartsfield-Jackson since March. Early tomorrow morning, the coldest we've had so far this season, 41. This morning, close, but I think we bottomed out about 41, 42. I don't think we got any colder than 41, but we'll have those official climate stats a little bit later today. And we're forecasting 38 degrees tomorrow morning with a breeze factored in. That 38 could feel more like 28. 39 in Eatonton, 39 in Thomaston, upper 30s in LaGrange. Mid to upper 30s kind of the rule tomorrow. Not many spots at or below freezing, though we did have LaGrange technically hit 32 even this morning. So it's possible, a spot or two could end up with temperatures close to freezing, and certainly it will feel colder than freezing in most spots tomorrow. It will feel colder than freezing in many areas as we get into the morning hours tomorrow. In fact, here is our forecast wind chill starting at noon today. And this is for the city of Atlanta. And even by midnight, Atlanta is forecast to have wind chills. What it feels like when the wind blows, back in the lower 30s, right around freezing. So, you kind of extrapolate that out or carry it into tomorrow morning with actual temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Very possibly could feel like it is in the mid to upper 20s. And that's even in the city of Atlanta. Even the south side, if you're up in the mountains, could be lower 20s. What it feels like out the door tomorrow morning. So do keep that in mind. You will want all of the winter wear out the door in the morning. Today is a first alert weather day, just the first kind of significant day of this cold blast of air. Today's the day where you're switching up the wardrobes, kind of getting back in the habit of making sure your students, your kiddos bring home their winter coats. We were in a stretch there where it kind of warmed up in the afternoons, didn't really need the winter coat, but we are needing it once again. You will need it tomorrow morning. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon struggle to warm past 50 degrees. I think many folks staying in the 40s tomorrow. Saturday morning cold too. Another morning with widespread mid to upper 30s. So gardeners, look out. The really sensitive stuff, your most sensitive plants, think like some varieties of hibiscus, some of the summer annuals, stuff like that. Some ferns, the really, really sensitive stuff. Make sure you cover those. Make sure they're mulched, they're watered. They're good to go. Everything else, it's just getting to be that time of year where you lose your warm weather stuff, the annuals, the stuff you have in your pots. You kind of change a few times a year. And you can switch them out to more of the winter stuff like pansies and plants like that are more hardy to the cold condition. So warm-up continues Sunday. High temperatures back in the mid-60s, 70 Monday. And then as First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris and I have been talking about, as we get into the middle of next week, approaching the Thanksgiving holiday, of course, Tuesday before Thanksgiving is a huge travel day. Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, some, celebrate with family loved ones then. Then you have Thursday, Thanksgiving, and then you have Friday, Black Friday shopping, and people traveling back home. And we could be dealing with some rounds of rain and then eventually another round of much colder weather in the First Alert forecast. So something we're going to be watching pretty closely. Don't forget about the weather next week. Nothing to worry about at this point, but We'll be eyeing the forecast closely, fine-tuning, kind of ironing out those details, so to speak, and you can catch updates, even if you're busy and on the go this weekend, which so many are the weekend before Thanksgiving. Just don't forget that we're going to be updating the forecast, keeping you updated on Atlanta News First Plus streams just like this one at atlantanewsfirst.com and in the First Alert weather app. Again, I want to leave you with a gorgeous but chilly and increasingly windy view of downtown Atlanta. I want to remind you, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Valdez has your full forecast at Atlanta News First at noon. You can catch coverage this afternoon, and then our next Atlanta News First Plus stream will air tonight at 8 p.m.